everybody. Welcome back to Old Man Van Running. Today, I'm going to give you my first impressions of the ASICS METASPEED SKY. Super duper carbon fiber, super expensive, 250 bucks. Super racing shoe. Really like these ASICS METASPEED Skys. A lot of bounce, nice roll at toe off. Really like them. Let's see if you can see them. So I really like these shoes. Thumbs up. They were a little hard to get on, I do have to admit about that. A little tough to get them on, but once they're on, they feel real great. So, awesome! This is my third carbon fiber super shoe. The first, I watched a video of Jim Walmsley set the 50-mile world record. And what did I do? I went out and bought his shoes. The Hoka Oni Oni Carbon X, the original Carbon X. Really like this shoe, nice and stable, even for my pronated knees. Also being the Brooks fanboy that I have been, and sometimes still am, I went with the Hyperion Elite 2. Another really good shoe. Step up from the Hoka Oni Oni Carbon X. I believe this shoe took me to my marathon personal best of 3:56. I could have run it much faster. It happened to be a virtual marathon, so I think with a crowd, I probably could have got another 5 to 10 minutes off that time. Great, great shoe. So with those other two super shoes kind of getting a little long in the tooth, it was time to get a third pair of super duper racers. Being a runner that wears stability shoes for daily trainers, I was looking for another neutral racing shoe because basically these super carbon fiber super duper racing shoes, they don't come in stability versions. So you really have to look at, what racing shoe has some stability characteristics to it, even though it's a neutral shoe. Both of those previous shoes, wide bases, pretty stable for a racing shoe, and I had no problems in them. When I did my pre-research, the shoe that was mentioned as having those similar stability characteristics was the ASICS METASPEED SKY. You might be asking, well, what about the Nike Alpha Fly? What about the Nike Next Percent? I can't wear those shoes. I can't wear Nikes. They just don't fit me. They're too narrow in the toe box, and I've never been able to find a pair of Nike running shoes that are comfortable, that fit me. Also, I've heard some issues with stability in the Alpha Fly, not as much in the Next Percent, but I've heard that they're not really that stable. So I figured, hey, I've had a good experience so far with the ASICS Gel Kayano 28s. Their stability, max cushioned stability daily trainer, that, hey, why not try ASICS Super Racing Shoe? An added bonus is, many of the reviews pointed to this shoe as being the closest in responsiveness and ride characteristics to those two Nike shoes. So I said, wow, maybe I can get a somewhat stable racing shoe and have something that's almost as good, if not as good, as those two Nike super shoes that I just can't wear. So let's get right down to the specs. This shoe here is 7 ounces in a men's size 9. That's very light considering the high stack height. A lot of foam there. Flight Foam Blast Turbo. Really, really nice foam. The stack height, 33 millimeters in the back, 28 in the front, for a 5 millimeter heel to toe drop. I read some reviews where people said, that's kind of getting down there in the toe drop. And some folks, after say some long races in these shoes, experience some calf soreness. I will tell you, I have a wide range of heel to toe drops in my rotation, anywhere from 10 millimeters in my training shoes that I go on when I'm tired and I'm heel striking a lot, to 5 millimeters in my racing shoes, which I have no problem where I tend to go more midfoot to forefoot striking when I'm at high speeds and in a race situation, and I have not had a problem. And with the amount of foam in this shoe, the one race that I've done, albeit a 10K, had no issues whatsoever, did not notice that it was only a 5 millimeter heel to toe drop. So really, really good there. As I mentioned, this shoe has a full length carbon plate. This is their super shoe, right? Flight Foam Blast Turbo is their midsole material. I'm going to tell you right now, this stuff is awesome. I don't know what those Nikes feel like, but of the 3 carbon fiber plated racing shoes that I've run in so far, this is the one that gives me a feeling that I hear being described for the Nike Alpha Fly X%. I felt a bounce when I was running in it. I felt a bounce at toe off. I felt like a springing sensation. Could it be a little bit with this rocker? Because most of these shoes have a little rocker in there that kind of help it toe off. And is it the carbon fiber plate? Probably not. I think it's in this foam. I think it's the Flight Foam Blast Turbo. That's what I think is doing it. Just like those foams in the Nike shoes. That's what I think is giving me that bounce. And I felt it from the first step in this shoe. And I'll also tell you that my legs felt the best they've ever felt after a hard race effort in these shoes. I did an all-out 10K a week ago yesterday, where normally at that type of an effort, my legs would be trashed afterwards. The next day I'd be very sore, just from the pounding of that. I didn't feel any of that in this shoe. That very day, after that race, where I ran 10 seconds faster than what my planned pace had been and faster than I thought I could at my current fitness level, my legs felt great. The next day, no delayed onset muscle soreness at all. So that tells me that this midsole material is really, really forgiving, really easy on the legs. At the same time, it gave me this tremendous bounce, and I really felt like I was flying at less effort than I would normally be for the same pace. Really like this engineered mesh upper, nice and soft. It does feel a little more substantial, meaning it feels like it's going to last a little bit long and a little more durable because it's got a little texture on the outside. But inside, it feels real soft. It's flexible. Doesn't add a lot of weight, obviously. It's 7 ounces. Really, really good with the upper. Plenty of room in the toe box. Toe box was not too short for me, although I had read some reviews where people had to go up a size or a half size because the toe box was a little short. I didn't experience that at all. I bought this through the mail, so I was a little worried that I was going to get it and I was going to have to return it after some of those reviews, but I had no issues at all. True to size for me, I wear 11.5 with D and had no problems whatsoever. Some of the reviews kind of picked away at these laces. Yeah, they feel a little flimsy, but they've got nice texture to them. They're flat again, and you know me, I don't like these really stretchy laces. These laces right here, I found gave me a really, really good lockdown. So I really like them. I did read some reviews where after a while they tended to fray easily or what have you. I can't speak to that. I've only run, 9 miles in these things. And I'll have to find out after maybe 50 miles or more whether that holds true. For now, the laces are fine for me, no issues. This is something that really surprised me in a racing shoe. Even with the weight, look at this heel collar and ankle collar. It's very well padded. It almost looks as padded or feels as padded as that in my training shoes. That's not what I normally get or you normally see in a high-priced super shoe. Very, very comfortable around here. And let me tell you, this heel counter, albeit soft, man, what a nice lockdown. It's got a thin sock liner in here, but man, it gives you a real nice feel and a real nice lockdown. Even, I'll tell you, even with this minimalist racing tongue. You'd think you'd get a lot of pressure on the top of your foot. Didn't happen. Once you get it in place, it's not gusseted, obviously, saves a little weight there. It stays in place. The only problem with this shoe is that it's hard to get on. Even when you loosen up the laces a lot, it's really hard to get on. You kind of have to go around there to get it onto your foot. Once you get it on your foot, though, it's comfortable. No heel rub, nothing like that. Again, not a lot of structure in the heel. That's okay. Gives you a real sock-like fit and feels real good. It's not too tight, not too loose around the midfoot. Really, really locks you down good. And this is a great thing. Once I got in this shoe and got it locked down, my foot wasn't going anywhere. I had no problems with my toes, any movement in the shoe after that race. Usually my toes are a little sore and, you know, maybe I got a black toenail or whatever. Not in this shoe. It was really, really good. So, excellent. Looking at the outsole. This is where, you know, it's a super racing shoe. They're not designed to last a long, long time. I have a little bit of a concern over here with this exposed midsole material, and the outsole only goes about this far. And sometimes, you know, if I'm heel striking or getting tired, and maybe this will happen in longer races where I'm going to start hitting here, that's where I'm worried we're going to start getting too much wear. It doesn't extend far enough in my estimation. It's very, very thin. That's typical of a super racing shoe, but there's plenty of outsole material in the forefoot. So, you know, if you're a forefoot striker or you're a midfoot striker, you know, you're going to be hitting here. And I think this outsole material is going to hold up pretty well. It's not thick, but I think it's got enough abrasion resistance that it's not going to just wear through in about 50 miles. Grip was great, had no problem, ran in both wet and dry conditions, never, ever, ever felt any slippage. So really, really good job. Just, I think ASICS maybe going just a tad further in the heel will help with longevity of this shoe. I'm hoping I get a good 100 miles out of it, but we shall see. So one other thing to note about the ASICS METASPEED SKY. ASICS actually has two super duper racing shoes. They have the ASICS METASPEED SKY right here that's designed for runners, at least this is what they say, for runners who, when they increase their pace, their stride length increases versus their cadence. They have another super shoe, very similar to this, but with a little bit lower stack height. It's the ASICS METASPEED Edge. That shoe, they say, is designed for runners who, when they speed up, increase their cadence more than their stride length. So where do I fit in? I checked out my speed, you know, my cadence versus my stride length in my Garmin data. It looks like when I pick up the pace or when I get into a race, that both my cadence and my stride length increase. However, my stride length increases at a higher percentage than my cadence. So based on that, that's why I went with the METASPEED SKY. That doesn't mean that the METASPEED Edge wouldn't work for me too. Since I only have experience with this one, this is the only one that I can give you impressions of. But so far, I like what I feel. So how do I rate the ASICS METASPEED SKY after 2 runs? Well, I give this shoe so far a 9.5 on a scale of 10. Why 9.5? Durability is where I'm taking off, you know, a 1/4 of a point. Durability, durability, durability. Other than that, this is almost the perfect racing shoe for me. Now what I need to do is run in this shoe in a half marathon and a marathon to really, really understand how versatile this shoe is, over what range of race distances this shoe is perfect for. So hopefully that will come. Maybe by the time this shoe is worn out, I'll need to get another pair or the next version, because I don't plan on running a marathon until next October, a whole year away. So we'll see how that goes. And obviously, this shoe is really expensive. 250 big ones. That's not cheap. And you know, I got to keep this in my racing rotation, but taking it out on a long training run, I think that's not going to happen. I think this is going to be left in the house until race day. So thanks for watching this video. If you like my first impressions review of the ASICS METASPEED SKY, please hit the like button below. And that's the thumbs up, not the thumbs down. But if you didn't like the video, it's okay to do a thumbs down. But please, if you have some constructive criticism or even some praise, please put it in the comment section below. If you want to get notified of more videos, don't forget to hit the notification bell, and please subscribe to the Old Man Van Running channel. Thanks again for watching, and remember, lace up your shoes and let's get out on the roads.